Hello everybody, I hope everybody's great. I would like to show you how to make a face mask today. And we're going to go over to the list of the materials we're going to be needing to make it. So first we're going to need a piece of paper. And this is because we're going to have to make a pattern. And I will show you the measurements that we are going to need to make it. And this piece of paper is going to be important because we can use it several times according to the number of face masks that you would like to make. And I will show you soon the measures that we need for that pattern. Now we need fabric, enough fabric to make the face mask. And I would suggest 100% cotton for the fabric. Next, we're going to need basic items to sew, like scissors, ruler, or the tape. And this is to measure the pattern that we're going to need. We also need 2 pieces of elastic. Each one has to measure 18 centimeters. Try to find a thin elastic. The thinner, the better. And the last we're going to need is interfacing. This one is going to be iron on the back of the fabric, and I will show you how to do it in the next part of the video. Now I would like to show you how to make our pattern, and this one is going to be used to cut the pieces of fabric and interfacing that we're going to need to make our face mask. So the measurements of the pattern has to be 19 centimeters high by 21 centimeters wide. So we have 21 centimeters by 19 centimeters. So whenever we have cut the pattern with these measurements, we're going to measure 5.5 centimeters from top to the center. So that piece has to measure 5.5 centimeters. And we're going to be doing the same thing from the bottom. So we have to measure 5.5 centimeters from the bottom to the center of the pattern. So once you measure 5.5 centimeters, I drew a line, and that's to indicate that the fabric has to be folded. So this is more than likely so we won't forget that we need to fold the fabric there. So at 5 centimeters, I also drew a little triangle, and that's because I'm going to cut a little piece in the fabric, like here and there. And this is just to indicate where we have to do the folding in our fabric. So the cut has to be very little, and just be careful not to make it too big. Now you have to make sure that the fabric is double. So at the time that we cut our pattern, we are going to be cutting two pieces at a time. So now we are going to pin down our pattern on the fabric, and we're going to put the pins around the pattern. And this is to avoid the fabric to move at the time we cut in. So now once we have cut the fabric, we're going to remove the pins. And remember about the cut that we were talking about. The interfacing is not that important to have that cuts done, but in the fabric it's important just to have it as a reference at the time we're going to fold. So we're removing the pins, and the next step is going to iron. So we're going to iron the interfacing, and of course it has to match with the fabric. Okay, the interfacing has 2 sides. One side is smooth and the other one is a little bit rough, just a little bit. But this is because that side has the glue that is going to attach to the fabric at the time that we iron it. So we're going to put the interfacing on top of the fabric. Remember that it has to be at the back. So we're going to use a little bit of steam, but just to be careful not to burn it. We can also use a wet rag. Remember, we're going to iron the back side of the fabric the one that we're going to iron the interfacing. Now we're going to look for that little cut that we made before. There we go, this one, I hope you can see it. And then we have the other one here, and we did the same thing on the other side, and I have the other one right here. So now we're going to fold the piece in half. Once we have it in half, that's going to help us to indicate where we're going to match our foldings. We're going to iron it, and this is to have as a reference for the folding. So now we're going to find one cut there and the other one on the other side, and then we're going to start to fold it. There we go, we have the two sides, and we're going to have it matching the middle of the fabric that we just marked with the iron. We have the folding there right in the middle, or right in the center of the piece of fabric that we iron. So once we have it, we're going to iron it again, and we are going to repeat the same step on the other side. We find that cut with the other cut, there we go, we fold it, and we're going to look for the center of the fabric again, and once we find it, we put the other one, and once we find both of the foldings in the center, we're going to iron again. It might be difficult to see the lines in the fabric because of the design of the pattern, but the center is right here. As you can see, it's the one that we mark with the iron. Now we're going to fold it. We match both of the foldings in the center of the fabric. Now we're going to iron again, and that's the way it should look. I have both of the foldings in the middle. And now what we're going to do, we're going to iron a little bit here in one of the sides of the fabric, and this is because it's going to help us out whenever we're going to close the face mask. This fold that we are ironing, it should be a little bit less than a centimeter. So now, because in this fabric it's a little bit hard to see the lines that we made with the iron, see, I would like to show you in this other fabric how it should look. So we have our lines here, and this is the line in the middle of the piece of our face mask, and this is the lines of the folding that we iron, and both of them have to match with the center of the piece of our face mask. And this is the other folding that we iron, the one that it should measure a little bit less than a centimeter, and we are going to close our face mask on this side. So this is the way that it should look, and we are going to go back to our original pieces of the face masks. So we have it here, and our next step is going to add the elastic on the sides. So this is what we did with the elastic. It should be on each side of the face mask. And now that we have it sewn, we're going to put the other piece of the face mask, and it should be front with front. Okay, and now we're going to pin because we are going to sew around, and we're just going to leave this side open. So we're going to use our pins because we have to match all the sides of the face mask, and we're going to pin here. Okay, this is going to avoid our fabric to move whenever we start sewing around the face mask. Okay, so now we're going to close this side, and when we are doing this side, we have to move the elastic a little bit over here to the side to avoid sewing it at the time we are closing this part of the face mask. So make sure that the elastic is a little bit moved. It has to be sewn on the side only, right here, and we move it a little bit, and then we're going to close this other side of the face mask. So let's put our pins to close it. So There, we have everything ready to be sewn. So now we're going to close with our sewing machine. Okay, now that we have everything sewn, we're going to start removing all the pins. And this is how it has to look. And now that we have everything sewn, we are going to, on the side, we're going to turn our face mask outside in. Can pull a little bit elastic over here so everything is stretched. And this is how it has to look. Okay, the option for the extra filter, we're going to measure about 6 centimeters from the side to the center, both sides. So in that way, we're going to have a space in the middle. This space is going to allow us to put an extra filter inside in case you want it that way. So we sew on the sides and we're going to have this space to add a filter. In this case, I'm not adding the additional filter, so I will sew around the outside. And once I sew around the outside, this will add firmness and allow the face mask to hold up during washing. So we're going to pin this side of our face mask. And it's ready. As you can see, you can adjust the face mask to your face, and it has double view, so you can wear it both sides. And that's it. We are done. Thank you very much. If you have any question, please let me know so I can explain you a little bit more in detail. Thank you very much for watching.